Marcus's laugh cut through the restaurant like broken glass. $8? He pushed the crumpled bill back to Lena with the tip of his finger as if it were trash. You brought $8 to a date with me? Lena felt her face burn. The surrounding tables fell silent. The waiters stopped. The whole world seemed to be watching her. The black woman in a threadbare uniform, sitting at a corner table, holding $8 like a fortune. I thought it was just coffee, she whispered, her voice catching in her throat. You said it was something simple. Marcus threw his head back and laughed even louder. Simple, baby? Do you think I go out for $2 coffee? He raised his hand, drawing more people's attention. Guys, look at this. The woman brought $8 and thought she would impress me. Lena lowered her eyes. I wanted to disappear. She wanted the ground to open up and swallow her. His fingers trembled as he put the bills back into his already peeling faux leather bag. Sorry, she murmured. I can leave. No. Marcus rested his elbows on the table, a cruel smile on his lips. Now I want to know, what do you do in your life to think that $8 is money? She took a deep breath. The humiliation hurt more than any words. I'm a cleaner. He repeated it as if it were a joke. Of course. Let me guess. You live in some godforsaken neighborhood, take 2 buses to get here and still think you deserve to sit in front of me? Tears stung Lena's eyes, but she didn't let them fall. I wouldn't give him that taste. I wasn't going to cry in front of strangers. But then something happened. A tall man, in an impeccable suit and with an erect posture, stood up from a discreet table at the back of the restaurant. He didn't run. He didn't scream. He just walked with firm and silent steps to Lena's table. Marcus didn't even notice. He was too busy laughing at his own joke. You know what's funny? Marcus continued. You really thought you had a chance with me. A cleaning lady. I make more in an hour than you do in a month, and you come here with $8. He arrives. The voice was low, but it cut through the air like a sharp blade. Marcus looked up, irritated, and froze. The man in the suit was standing next to the table. His eyes were serene, but there was something unyielding about them, something that made Marcus swallow the next word. Who are you? Marcus asked, trying to sound confident, but his voice sounded thin. The man did not respond. He turned to Lena. Are you well? Lena blinked, confused. He was familiar, very familiar, but from where? And then she remembered. 12th floor, presidential room. The man who always greeted her by name when he passed by with the cleaning cart. Sir, Carvalho. His voice came out in a thread. Daniel Carvalho, CEO of Carvalho Incorporações, one of the largest companies in the city, nodded lightly. Then he turned his eyes to Marcus. You will apologize to her? Now. Marcus laughed, but the sound came out nervously. Dude, are you kidding me? I am not going. It's not a request. The entire restaurant was silent now. Daniel Carvalho took his wallet out of his inside jacket pocket, took out a $50 bill and gently placed it in front of Lena. Dinner is on me, he said, his voice firm and gentle at the same time. Ask what you want. And he pointed to Marcus, is going to leave. Now. Marcus stood up forcefully, knocking over his chair. You can't kick me out of here. I can. Daniel turned to the manager, who was watching everything with wide eyes. This restaurant is part of my company's shopping complex, and he just lost the right to come in here. Forever. The manager swallowed hard and waved to the security guards. Marcus opened his mouth, closed it, and then stomped away, his face red with anger and embarrassment. Lena was paralyzed. Daniel pulled out the chair in front of her and sat down, calmly. Breathe, he said. It's over. She took a shaky breath. The tears finally fell, silent and hot. Why did you do that? Daniel intertwined his fingers on the table. Because I know who you are, Lena. 3 months earlier, Lena pushed the cleaning cart down the 12th floor hallway at 5:30 in the morning, as she always did. The building was still empty, just her, the silence, and the smell of disinfectant. She liked that time. That was when I could think, when he could breathe away from the bills, away from the worries, away from the world that never seemed to stop weighing on his shoulders. Lena was 32 years old but looked 40. His hands were rough from scrubbing the floor so much. My knees hurt. Her hair was always tied up in a tight bun because she didn't have the time, or money, to take care of it properly. She was the mother of Miguel, a 7-year-old boy with big eyes and a toothless smile. The father was gone before childbirth. Since then it was just her and her son, just the two of them against the world. And the world didn't make it easy. Lena worked from 5 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon as a cleaner in the Carvalho Incorporações commercial building. Then I took 2 buses to Miguel's school, helped with the lesson. I made dinner. I put him to sleep. And then, 3 times a week, she would take the bus again to clean a gym at night. He slept 4 hours if he was lucky, but she never complained. Because Miguel had food on the table. Because Miguel had new notebooks. Because Miguel didn't know the taste of being hungry. And that, for Lena, was worth every scraped knee, every early morning wake-up call, every silent humiliation. That morning 3 months ago, she was cleaning the presidential office when she heard footsteps. "Good morning, Lena." She raised her head, scared. Daniel Carvalho was standing at the door, suit lined up, briefcase in hand, but with a kind face. "Good morning, sir," she replied quickly, lowering her head again. It was never good to attract attention. "You always arrive early, don't you?" She hesitated. "Had I done something wrong?" "Yes, sir. It's my time." "I know." He entered the room, placed the folder on the table. "And I also arrive early. That's why I see you every day. You are the only person who always greets everyone by name, the only one who smiles even when no one is looking." Lena blinked, not understanding where this was going. "Thank you, sir." He waved and she left. But from that day on, Daniel Carvalho always greeted her, always by name, always with respect, and Lena, without knowing it, had won the attention of a man who valued character above all else. Back to the restaurant. "You've been cleaning my room for 8 months, Daniel said, looking firmly into Lena's eyes. "And in 8 months, I've never seen you treat anyone with disrespect. I've never seen you complain. I never saw you missing. You take care of my space as if it were yours. And today I saw you being treated like dirt by a man who isn't even worth the sole of your shoe." Lena wiped her tears with the back of her hand. I didn't know that you knew?" "No, but now I want to know." He crossed his arms, leaning on the table. "What brought you here today? Why did you agree to go out with that idiot?" She took a deep breath. The truth hurt, but she said it anyway. "Loneliness." Daniel nodded slowly. "And the $8? Lena lowered her eyes. "It was all I had until the end of the month. Miguel needed medicine. I paid. That's it." Silence. Daniel stood up. "Lena, look at me." She looked up. "You have no idea how much you're worth," he said firmly. "But I'll show you." And then Daniel Carvalho did something that no one expected. He pulled out his cell phone, typed something quickly, and showed her the screen. It was a bank transfer, $5,000. Lena's eyes widened. "Sir, I can't." "He can, and it goes." He put away his cell phone. "That's not charity. It's recognition. Tomorrow at 9 in the morning, you will go up to my room. We're going to talk about a promotion." Lena was speechless, but before he could respond, the restaurant door opened with force, and Veronica, the company's HR manager, came in with her face red with anger. "Daniel, what are you doing? The climate has changed. Tense, heavy." Daniel turned slowly. "Veronica, what a surprise." She walked to the table, her heels clicking loudly on the floor. "Did you just transfer $5,000 to a cleaning lady? Have you lost your mind?" Lena felt her stomach drop, and that was when he realized this wasn't going to end well. Veronica didn't wait for an answer. She turned to Lena, her eyes sharp as blades. "Do you think you won something?" The voice was low, venomous. "Do you think that because he gave you money now you are special?" Lena opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Daniel stood up slowly, placing himself between the two. "Veronica, this is none of your business." "Isn't that my business?" She took a step forward, defiant. "I'm the HR manager. Any financial transactions involving employees go through me, and you just transferred $5,000 without consulting anyone." "I don't need permission," Daniel said firmly. "And she's not just an employee. She's a person who deserves respect." Veronica let out a short, bitter laugh. "Respect, of course." She looked Lena up and down. "You know what people will think when they hear this, don't you? They will think that you earned this money in other ways." The silence that fell over the restaurant was icy. Lena felt her body shake, not out of fear, of anger. "I didn't do anything wrong," she said, her voice low but firm. "Not yet." Veronica smiled cruelly. "But let's see how long you last now that everyone will be watching you." Daniel took a step forward, his face tense. "Get out. Now." Veronica raised her hands in mock surrender. "All good. All good." She backed away, but before leaving, she took one last look at Lena. "See you tomorrow at work, Cinderella." And he left, leaving a trail of poison in the air. Daniel took a deep breath, running a hand over his face. "Lena, I'm so sorry. She had no right to." "It's okay," Lena cut in, getting up. Her legs were wobbly, but she remained standing. "I need to go." "Wait." Daniel lightly touched her arm. "Tomorrow, 9 in the morning. My room. Please, I want to offer you something better than all that." Lena nodded, unable to speak. She picked up her bag and left the restaurant without looking back. Outside, the cold night air hit her face like a slap, and it was only then that she let the tears fall. The bus home was empty. Lena sat in the back, leaned her head against the cold window and closed her eyes. Cinderella. The word echoed in her mind like an insult. She was not Cinderella. There was no fairy godmother. There was no glass slipper. There was no happy ending waiting. He only had bills to pay, a child to raise, and a tired body that could barely last another day. But even so, she got up every day, because I had to get up. By Miguel. 8 years ago, Lena was 24 years old when she discovered she was pregnant. It was in the bathroom of a one-room apartment, alone, holding a pharmacy test with my hands shaking. 2 lines. She fell to her knees on the cold floor and cried, not because I didn't want the baby, but because I knew I was alone. Miguel's father, Juliano, had disappeared a week before when she mentioned she was late, blocked her from everything, changed city. He never heard from her again. Lena had no family. He had grown up in shelters, bouncing from house to house until he was 18. He never had a mother. He never had a father. There never was anyone. And now, for the first time in her life, she would have someone. She would be the mother she never had. When Miguel was born, small, fragile, with his eyes closed and his fists clenched, Lena made a promise. "You'll have everything I never had," she whispered, holding his little hand. "I promise." And she did. He worked 3 jobs. He cleaned the floor until his knees bled. He accepted humiliation in silence. He ate little so he could eat a lot. Miguel never went hungry. Miguel never slept on the street. Miguel never felt the emptiness that Lena felt her entire life. And that for her was victory enough. But sometimes at night when Miguel slept and the house was silent, Lena cried. Because she was tired. So tired. And because deep down, she also wanted to be taken care of. Lena got off the bus and walked the 2 blocks to the small apartment. It was an old building, with peeling walls and creaking stairs, but it was theirs. When she opened the door, she was greeted by Miguel's toothless smile. "Mother." He ran to her, his little arms open. Lena knelt down and hugged him tightly, smelling the smell of baby shampoo and cookies. "Hey, my love, did you have dinner?" "I had dinner with Donacita." Miguel pointed to the neighbor, a 70-year-old woman who always helped Lena with Miguel. "She made pasta." Lena smiled and looked at Donacita, who was sitting on the old sofa in the living room. "Thank you, Donacita, always saving my life." The lady waved her hand. "Imagine, daughter, this boy is an angel." She stood up, picking up her bag. "But you look tired." "It is good too." Lena forced a smile. "Yes, it's just been a long day." Donacita looked at her for a moment as if she didn't believe it, but she didn't insist. "Anything, you call me." "Thanks." After the neighbor left, Lena gave Miguel a bath, read him a story, and put him to sleep. When she was finally alone, she sat on the edge of the bed and looked at her cell phone. There was a bank notification. Transfer received her $5,000. She looked at the number for a long time, unable to believe it. Is this real? But then, another notification appeared, a message from an unknown number. "Do you think you deserve this money? You're nothing but an opportunist. Be careful what you do tomorrow." Lena felt her blood run cold. Who was it? She blocked the number, but her heart was pounding in her chest. What is happening? The next day, Lena arrived at the Carvalho Incorporações building at 5 in the morning, as always. But something was different. People looked at her, not with curiosity, with contempt. She pushed the cleaning cart down the 6th-floor hallway and heard whispers. "It's her. Are you sure he gave her 5,000? He must have done something. These women always find a way, right?" Lena clenched her fists but kept walking. It wouldn't be satisfying. I wasn't going to let them see it break. When she arrived at the women's bathroom to clean, she found Veronica standing in front of the mirror, touching up the lipstick. "Good morning," Lena said quietly, trying to pass. Veronica didn't respond. He just looked at her in the mirror, his lips curving in a cold smile. "Enjoy it while it lasts," she said, almost humming. "Because this won't last." Lena took a deep breath and left without saying anything, but the weight in my chest increased. At 9 in the morning, Lena went up to the 12th floor, as Daniel had requested. The heart was beating fast. His hands were sweating. The secretary received her with a strange look, half curious, half judgmental. "He's waiting for you." Lena entered the room. Daniel was standing, looking out the window. "Sit down, please," he said, turning around. She sat on the edge of her chair, nervous. Daniel pulled out a folder and placed it on the table. "I want to offer you a new position, administrative assistant, salary 3 times what you earn now, fixed schedule, benefits." Lena's eyes widened. "Sir, I have no experience in—" "You have something better than experience," he cut in. "You have ethics, dedication, character, and that I can teach the rest." Tears stung her eyes. "Why are you doing this?" Daniel sat up, eyes steady. "Because the world has already taken too much from you, and I want to give back a little." Lena couldn't speak. She just waved, excited. But then the door to the room opened forcefully. Veronica entered without knocking, her face red. "Daniel, I need to talk to you, now." "I'm busy." "It's about her." Veronica pointed to Lena. "I discovered something you need to know." Daniel frowned. "What?" Veronica threw a folder on the table. "She falsified documents to get the job, lied about references, and there's a pending investigation into theft at the last place he worked." Lena stood frozen. That's not true." Veronica smiled. "It's all here, documented." Daniel opened the folder. His eyes scanned the papers. His face tensed. Lena felt the floor collapse. "Sir, I swear I will never—" Daniel raised his hand. "Veronica, get out. But get out." She huffed and left, slamming the door. Daniel looked at Lena, and for the first time since she met him, she saw doubt in his eyes. Lena, is this true? She shook her head desperately. No, I swear to God I never stole anything, I never lied, So how do these documents exist? I don't know. Tears streamed down her face. Someone is lying. Someone is trying to destroy me. Daniel closed the folder. I need to investigate this. Sir, please, go home, Lena. I'll call you. She stood up, legs shaking, and left the room. In the hallway, Veronica was leaning against the wall, smiling. I warned you, she whispered. You shouldn't have accepted anything from him. Lena walked past her without saying anything, but anger boiled inside her chest. Someone was setting her up, and she was going to find out who. That night, Lena couldn't sleep. She lay in the dark, looking at the ceiling, her brain working. How did those documents appear? Who did this? Why? And then she remembered. 2 months ago, she had left her bag open in the locker room while she changed clothes. When he returned, he found it strange. Some papers were out of place. Raphael, he was there that day, alone. Raphael, the colleague who always made jokes about her, who always looked at her with contempt. He took my documents. Lena jumped up and went to the closet. He looked through everything until he found it. His old paycheck, rent receipt, ID, everything the same. But then, at the bottom of the drawer, she found something that shouldn't be there. An envelope. She opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a copy of a bank transfer from Veronica for Raphael for $2,000. Reason, service provided. And below, a handwritten note. Make copies of her documents. Create inconsistencies. I'll take care of the rest. Lena felt her blood boil. They set me up. Lena didn't sleep. She sat on the bed until the sun rose, holding the envelope with the evidence. The paper shook in his hands. Not from fear, of anger. Veronica paid Raphael to destroy me. The question now was, why? Lena never did anything against Veronica, never competed with her. He never threatened his position. She was just a cleaning lady, invisible, insignificant. Even Daniel Carvalho saw it, and that's when everything changed. She's afraid of me. The realization came like a punch in the gut. Veronica wasn't afraid of Lena. She was afraid of what Daniel saw in her. I was afraid of being replaced. I was afraid of losing power, and scared people will do anything to survive. Lena put the envelope in a plastic bag and hid it in the back of the closet, behind the shoeboxes. I couldn't leave it in an obvious place, not with Miguel at home. At 5 in the morning, she got ready as usual, but before leaving, he stopped at the door of his son's room and watched him sleeping. Miguel was face down, hugs on the beat-up teddy bear she had bought at a thrift store 3 years ago, curly hair spread out on the pillow, the calm, innocent face. Lena felt a tightness in her chest. He can't know that. He cannot grow up thinking that the world is just that. She bent down, kissed his forehead lightly, and whispered, Mom will fix everything. Bye. When Lena entered the Carvalho Incorporaciones building, there was immediate silence. Conversation stopped. The looks shifted. Some colleagues turned their backs. She pushed the cleaning cart down the hall, pretending not to notice. But I understood everything. On the 3rd floor, 2 women from accounting were near the water fountain. When Lena passed, they lowered their voices, but not enough. 5,000, imagine. He must have done something. These women always find a way, right? Lena tightened her fingers on the handle of the cart but didn't stop. It wouldn't be satisfying. Further ahead, in the 4th floor corridor, Raphael was leaning against the wall, playing on his cell phone. When he saw Lena, he smiled. What's up, Cinderella? Enjoying the fame? She stopped. Raphael approached, his hands in his pockets, his arrogant smile. You really thought it would work, right? That the CEO was going to promote you just because you're good? Lena stared at him firmly. I didn't do anything wrong. Of course. He shrugged. But people don't care about the truth. They care about appearance. And you, darling, are looking very suspicious. She took a step forward, lowering her voice. I know what you did. Raphael blinked. For a second, the smile faltered. What are you talking about? You took my documents, made copies, falsified information. Lena crossed her arms. And Veronica paid you for it. Raphael's face turned pale, but then he regained his composure and laughed. A forced, nervous laugh. You're crazy. Completely crazy. I have proof. Silence. Raphael approached, his face inches from hers, his voice low and threatening. Listen here, you little bastard. You have nothing. And if you try anything, I guarantee you will regret it. He pointed to the hallway. Nobody here likes you. Nobody believes you. And if you open your mouth, I'll make everyone believe you're a liar and a thief. Lena didn't back down. Do whatever you want, but the truth will come out. Raphael huffed and walked away, stomping away. But Lena saw it. You saw his hand shake as he took out his cell phone. He saw the sweat on his forehead. He's scared. 2 hours later, Lena was cleaning the bathroom on the 8th floor when she heard footsteps behind her. He turned and saw Veronica standing in the doorway, her arms crossed, her face cold as ice. You talked to Raphael this morning. It wasn't a question. It was an accusation. Lena stood up slowly, taking off her gloves. We talked. And what did you say to him? The truth. Veronica took a step forward, her heel hitting the ground hard. You think you're smart, don't you? Do you think that because you found a piece of paper in the trash, now there's something against me? Lena didn't respond. Veronica smiled, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. Let me explain something to you, Lena. You are nobody. You clean floors. You earn a pittance. You have no education, you have no contacts, you have nothing. She came closer. And me? I have been an HR manager for 10 years. I have influence. I have lawyers. I have Daniel in the palm of my hand. Lena took a deep breath. If you have him in the palm of your hand, why are you so scared of me? Veronica's face hardened. Be careful what you say. Or what? Lena took a step forward. Are you going to do what you're already doing? Destroy me? Try to kick me out? Humiliate me? Veronica tilted her head, eyes narrowing. No, I'll do something better. She took her cell phone out of her pocket and typed something quickly. Then he turned the screen to Lena. I will end you in a way you will never recover from. On the screen, there was a photo from Miguel in front of the school. Lena felt her blood run cold. What did you do? Veronica put away her cell phone, smiling. Nothing, yet. But if you keep trying to harm me, I guarantee I'll find out things about you that no one needs to know. Things that could make you lose custody of your child. Lena couldn't breathe. You will not touch him. I'm not going. Veronica turned to leave, but stopped at the door. It depends on you. Keep quiet. Accept the resignation that is about to come, and leave. Or keep trying to be a hero, and lose everything. And he left, leaving Lena alone in the bathroom, shaking with anger and fear. That afternoon, Lena couldn't concentrate. The hands were shaking. The head spun. She tried to clean the 10th floor, but spilled the bucket of water twice. At 2 in the afternoon, when her shift ended, she went straight to school to pick up Miguel. He arrived 15 minutes early. She stood on the side from the outside, eyes scanning every person, every car, every movement. When Miguel ran out the door, smiling, Lena hugged him so tight that he complained. Mom, you're crushing me. I am sorry, my love. She let go of him, but held his hand tightly. Let's go home. On the way, Miguel chatted about his day at school. The teacher had read a story about dinosaurs. He had gotten a star for good behavior. He had shared a snack with a friend. Lena listened, but her mind was far away. She threatened my son. She crossed the line. That night, after putting Miguel to sleep, Lena sat at the kitchen table and opened the old laptop that barely worked. She needed help, but I didn't know who to turn to. He had no family. He had no influential friends. I didn't have money for a lawyer. But there was one thing, the truth. Lena opened Google and typed, how to report labor fraud. Spent the next 3 hours reading about labor rights, evidence, procedures. He took notes, printed forms. I wasn't a lawyer, but he was smart and desperate people move mountains. The next day, Lena arrived at work earlier than usual, 4:30 in the morning. The building was empty, silent. She went straight to the 12th floor. Daniel's office was locked, but she knew where the spare key was, in the cleaning closet in the hallway. He borrowed it, opened the door, entered. I wasn't there to steal. I was there to plant a seed. Lena left an envelope on Daniel's desk. Inside there was a copy of Veronica's transfer receipt to Raphael, along with a handwritten letter. Mr. Carvalho, I'm not a thief. I'm not a liar. But someone is trying to make you believe that I am. Inside this envelope is proof that Veronica Almeida paid Rafael Santos to falsify my documents and create false evidence against me. I don't ask you to believe me. I just ask that you investigate. Yours sincerely, Lena. She left the envelope, left the room, locked the door, and returned to her work, as if nothing had happened. 9 in the morning. Daniel Carvalho arrived at the office as always. Coffee in hand, lined jacket, focused mind. When he entered the room, he saw the envelope on the table. He frowned, opened, read the letter, read the receipt, read it again. Then he picked up the phone. Sandra, call Veronica here. Now. 10 minutes later, Veronica entered the room smiling. Good morning, Daniel. What there was? He didn't respond. He just pushed the envelope towards her. Veronica looked. The smile died. Where did you get that? It doesn't matter. Daniel stood up. And truth? Daniel, I can explain. And truth? His voice was low, but firm as steel. Veronica took a deep breath. I did what was necessary to protect the company. Protect? Daniel slammed his hand on the table. You paid someone to destroy an innocent employee. She is not innocent. She is a threat, Veronica shouted, losing her composure. You gave $5,000 to a cleaning lady. You're offering her a promotion. And what's left for me, since I've been working here for 10 years? Nothing. Daniel was silent for a long moment. Then, calmly, he picked up the phone and dialed. Security? Escort Mrs. Veronica Almeida out of the building. She is fired for just cause. Veronica turned white. You can't do that. I can. And I just did. He pointed to the door. Get out. 2 security guards entered. Veronica tried to argue, but they took her away. Screams echoing through the hallway. Daniel took a deep breath, sat down, and picked up the phone again. Sandra, send Lena up here. Now. Lena was on the 5th floor when she received the message. The heart raced. He read the letter. But did you believe it? She climbed slowly, her legs heavy. He knocked on the door. Come in. Daniel was standing, looking out the window. Sit down. She sat down. He turned around. Veronica was fired. Lena blinked in disbelief. Sir, you don't need to say anything. Daniel sat in front of her. I owe you an apology. I doubted you, and that was unfair. Tears filled Lena's eyes. I just wanted you to know the truth. I know now. He intertwined his fingers. And the promotion is still on, if you still want. Lena nodded, excited. I want. Daniel smiled. Excellent. You start Monday. She stood up, her heart light for the first time in days. But as he left the room, he bumped into someone in the hallway. Raphael. He looked at her with pure hatred. You finished her off, he whispered venomously. And now I'm going to finish you off. Lena looked at him. Try. And moved on. But at night, when she got home, she found something that made her blood run cold. The apartment door was ajar. And inside, everything was turned upside down. Clothes on the floor, open drawers, empty cabinets. Someone had entered there and took something. The envelope with the evidence. It was gone. Lena stood frozen in the apartment door. Everything was turned upside down. Open drawers, scattered clothes, torn pillows, books thrown on the floor, and the envelope, the only evidence she had against Raphael, was gone. Her legs gave out. Lena leaned against the door frame, her breath caught in her throat. How did he get here? How did he know where I kept it? And then, the biggest panic. Michael! She ran to her son's room. The door was open, the empty bed. Michael! Lena's heart was beating so hard it hurt. She whirled around the apartment, desperate, screaming his name. Mother! The voice came from the hallway. Lena ran outside and saw Miguel going up the stairs with Donacita, holding a bag of bread. Lena fell to her knees and hugged him so tightly that he let out a little scream. Mom, what happened? It's hurting me. I am sorry, my love. Sorry. She released him, her hands shaking, and looked at Donacita. Thank you for being with him. The neighbor frowned. Daughter, what happened? You're white. Lena didn't respond. He pulled Miguel into the apartment, locked the door tightly, and leaned his back against it. They entered my house. They violated my space. They threatened my son. The anger that rose from Lena's chest was so intense that she tasted metal in her mouth. He finished. Now they will pay. That night, after putting Miguel to sleep, with the bedroom door locked and a chair leaning against the doorknob, Lena sat on the living room floor and cried. He cried with anger, of fear, from exhaustion. But then in the midst of her tears, she heard a soft knock on the door. He got up slowly, wiped his face, and looked through the peephole. It was Donacita. Lena opened the door. The neighbor came in with a plastic bag in her hand. I brought tea and cookies. She placed the bag on the table and looked at Lena with those small but firm eyes. Now you're going to tell me what's going on. Lena took a deep breath, and he told everything. The humiliating encounter, Daniel Carvalho, the transfer of the 5,000, Veronica, Raphael, the frame, the promotion, the invasion. Donacita listened in silence. Her lips pursed. When Lena finished, the neighbor slowly shook her head. This Raphael is a demon, and now he has the proof, Lena said, her voice breaking. I have nothing else. Donacita picked up the cup of tea and drank slowly. Then he looked at Lena. You have something better than paper. What? You have the truth, and you have people who believe in you. She pointed to Lena's cell phone. Call your boss. Tell him what happened. He fired that viper Veronica, didn't he? Then he will help you. Lena hesitated. What if he doesn't believe it? He will believe it. Donacita stood up. Because you're not a liar, and he knows it. The next day, 7 in the morning, Lena didn't go to work. She picked up her cell phone, took a deep breath, and called the number Daniel had given her. 3 rings. Hello? Mr. Carvalho. It's me, Lena. Brief silence. Lena, good morning. All good? You didn't come to work today. I need to talk to you, sir. Personally, it's urgent. His voice became serious. What happened? They broke into my house. They stole the evidence I had against Raphael, and I think he's going to try to frame me again. Daniel didn't hesitate. Where are you? At home. Stay there. I'll come to you. 40 minutes later, Daniel Carvalho parked the car in front of Lena's building. It wasn't the company car. It was the personal one, a discreet sedan. He went up the stairs, knocked on the door, and Lena opened it. Daniel looked at the ransacked apartment behind her, and his face hardened. Did they do this? Lena nodded. He entered, closed the door, and turned to her. Tell me everything, Lena said. Every detail. Veronica's threat, Miguel's photo, the invasion, the stolen envelope. Daniel heard everything, his fists clenched. When she finished, he took his cell phone out of his pocket. I'm going to call the police. No, Lena grabbed his arm. They'll say I'm making it up, that I have no proof, that I'm the one chasing them. Daniel looked at her firmly. Then we'll get new evidence. How? He thought for a moment. Then his eyes lit up. Did you email that receipt or did you take a photo beforehand? Lena shook her head. No, I just found the paper and kept it. But Raphael doesn't know that. She blinked. What? Daniel smiled. It wasn't a gentle smile. It was strategic. He stole the envelope, but he doesn't know if you have copies, and desperate people make mistakes. 2 hours later, Daniel took Lena to the office, but not to work. He took her to the meeting room, legal department, where 3 of the company's lawyers were already waiting. Lena, these are the lawyers from Carvalho and Corporações, Daniel said. They will help you build a case, but we need Raphael to confess, or trying something. The lead lawyer, a woman with gray hair and thin glasses, leaned forward. Do you have his number? I have. Excellent. You will call him and say that you have copies of the evidence, that he may have stolen the envelope, but that you scanned everything, and that he will hand it over to the police this afternoon. Lena's eyes widened. But I don't have copies. He doesn't know that. The lawyer smiled. And if he's stupid enough, he'll try to stop you. And then he surrenders. Daniel placed a small recorder on the table. We're going to record everything. Any threat, any confession, anything he says can be used against him. Lena looked at the phone, to the recorder. For Daniel, he took a deep breath. Let's do this. Lena dialed Raphael's number. He put it on speakerphone. The recorder was turning on. 3 rings. Hello? His voice was arrogant, trusting. It is me, Lena. Silence. Then a low laugh. Ah, Cinderella. And there? Enjoying your renovated house? Lena clenched her fists but kept her voice steady. You could have taken the envelope, but I scanned everything first. Silence. What? You heard me. I took a photo of each document, from the receipt, from Veronica's transfer, of everything, and I'm going to hand it over to the police today. Raphael breathed heavily on the other end of the line. You're lying. Want to bet? Lena looked at Daniel, who nodded encouragingly. I've already made an appointment with a lawyer, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 7th Street Police Station. You can go check it out if you want. You bitch. Be careful what you say, Raphael. Everything is being recorded. He was silent for a moment. Then the voice returned, lower, more dangerous. You won't do that. I go. It won't. Because if you do, I'll go to that little school where your son goes and tell everyone what kind of mother you are. I'm going to spread the word that you sold your body to the boss. I will destroy his image. I'm going to get him kicked out. I'm going to finish you both off. Lena felt her blood boil, but he didn't speak. He let the silence weigh down. And then Raphael continued, because desperate people always talk too much. And more. I'm going to say you stole money from the company, that you falsified documents. I'm going to plant so much shit on your record that you'll never get a job again. Never again. You'll end up on the street with that kid on your lap begging. Lena looked at the lawyers. They waved. Enough. Thank you, Raphael, she said, her voice firm. You just confessed to breaking and entering, threatening a minor, defamation and attempted extortion, everything recorded, with witnesses. Icy silence. Bye, Raphael. She hung up. The silence in the meeting room lasted 3 seconds. Then Daniel clapped his hands once hard. Perfect. The lawyer took the recorder. With that, we have a criminal case. I'm going straight to the police station now. Lena felt her legs weaken. He sat in the chair, shaking, but not with fear, of relief. He finished. He gave himself up. 3 hours later, Raphael was arrested outside the commercial building. 2 police officers handcuffed him in front of everyone. He shouted. He cursed. He threatened to sue everyone. But when the audio was played at the police station, he was silent. And when the police searched his apartment, they found the stolen envelope hidden under the mattress. Game over. Koiryu that night. Lena was sitting on the couch, Miguel sleeping on her lap when Daniel called. Lena? Yes? Raphael was indicted. Invasion, threat, forgery, extortion. He's not leaving anytime soon. Lena closed her eyes. A tear fell. Thanks. For everything. You don't need to thank me. You fought alone. I only gave you the tools. Silence. Daniel, can I ask you something? Of course. Why did you do all this for me? He took a deep breath on the other end of the line. Because when I was 7 years old, my mother was unfairly fired from a job. She was a cleaner, black, alone, and no one believed her. Nobody defended her. His voice was choked. I swore that when I grew up I would never let that happen again. With no one. Lena couldn't speak. He just cried, in silence. Rest, Lena. Tomorrow a new life begins. And hung up. But then at 11 at night her phone rang again. Unknown number. She answered. Hello? Silence. Heavy breathing. Then a voice, female, cold, distorted. Do you think you won? Raphael was just the pawn, and you just declared war on people much bigger than you, and hung up. Lena stood frozen, the phone shaking in her hand. Who was it? What did this mean? And at the bottom of the imago, an icy certainty. This isn't over yet. Lena didn't sleep that night. She sat in the dark room, the phone in her hand, the words of the distorted voice echoing in her mind. Raphael was just the pawn. You just declared war on people much bigger than you. Who was it? Why would someone more powerful care about a cleaning lady? And then the answer came like a punch. It's not about me. It never was. It's about Daniel. The next day, 8 in the morning, Lena called Daniel before she even left the house. Mr. Carvalho, I need to talk to you. Now. Lena, what happened? Someone called me last night. He said Raphael was just a pawn, that there are bigger people behind all this. Silence on the other side. Where are you? At home. Don't leave there. I'll come get you and Miguel. Now. 20 minutes later, Daniel parked in front of Lena's building. She went downstairs with Miguel by the hand, a backpack on her back with some clothes and documents. Miguel looked at the car and smiled excitedly. Mom, is that rich man again? Lena squeezed his hand. Yes, love. He is our friend. Daniel opened the back door for Miguel to enter, and then looked at Lena. You will stay in a safe hotel for a few days. The lawyers and I will find out who is behind this. But I can't just disappear. I have work. Miguel has school. Lena, Daniel held her shoulders, firm but gentle. These people broke into your house. They threatened your son. I won't let you take any risks. Trust me. She looked into his eyes, and he saw something he didn't expect. Fear. Daniel Carvalho, the millionaire CEO, was scared. Not for him, for her. Lena nodded slowly. I trust. Hotel. 2 hours later, Daniel took Lena and Miguel to a discreet hotel in the city center, paid for a suite for a week. He left the number of 2 private security guards who would be on duty in the corridor. Don't open the door to anyone other than me or the lawyers, he said, and call me if anything strange happens. Lena nodded. Miguel was dazzled by the room. Large television, huge bed, bathroom with bathtub. Mom, are we rich? He asked innocently. Lena smiled sadly. No, love, we're just safe. Carvalho in Corporações office. Same day, 10 in the morning. Daniel gathered the company's 3 lawyers and the head of security in a private room. Someone bigger than Raphael and Veronica is involved in this, he said firmly. And I want to know who. The main lawyer, Dr. Marcia, leafed through some notes. Veronica was fired, but she didn't act alone. She would not have the authority to manipulate internal documents without approval from someone on the board. Daniel frowned. Who on the board would be interested in harming Lena? Not Lena. The head of security? A 50-year-old man with a military stance intervened. You. Silence. Explain, Daniel said. Mr. Carvalho, you promoted a cleaning lady to administrative assistant. He transferred $5,000 to her publicly. He fired the HR manager for just cause, defending her. He leaned forward. You broke the chain of command, and this bothers people who live in hierarchy. Daniel crossed his arms. Who specifically? The head of security exchanged a look with Dr. Marcia. She sighed. 6 months ago, you vetoed the promotion of Augusto Farias to vice president. He had been waiting for the position for 5 years. Daniel closed his eyes. Augustus. Of course. Augusto Farias was the company's financial director. 52-year-old man, gray hair, impeccable suit, political smile, ambitious, calculator, and resentful. Veronica reported directly to him. Dr. Marcia continued. And Raphael was an outsourced contractor under approval from the financial board. In other words, Augusto. Daniel slammed his hand on the table. He set everything up. He used Veronica and Raphael to destabilize me, to make me seem impulsive, irrational, emotionally compromised. And it worked, the security chief said. Half the council is already questioning their decisions, saying you're losing focus. Daniel took a deep breath. Then we're going to do the following. Complete investigation. Audit of all contracts signed by Augusto in the last 2 years. Bank transactions, corporate emails, all. Dr. Marcia hesitated. Sir, this could take weeks. We don't have weeks. Daniel stood up. We have until the board meeting on Friday. 3 days. Work day and night if necessary. But I want proof. Wednesday. Hotel. Lena was at the bedroom window, looking at the city, while Miguel watched cartoons on TV. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She hesitated. But answer you. Hello? Silence. Then the same distorted voice as before. You don't learn, right? Lena felt her blood run cold, but she kept her voice firm. Who are you? Someone who is tired of seeing people like you thinking they deserve more than they are worth. People like me? People who don't know their place. Lena clenched her fist. My place is wherever I want to be. The voice laughed coldly. How brave. But courage doesn't pay the bill, and it doesn't protect your child. If you lay a finger on him, I'm not going to do anything. But accidents happen. Children get lost. Mothers lose custody. Pause. Unless you do what I ask. What is it? Give up on the promotion, leave the company, and convince Daniel Carvalho to stop defending you publicly. Lena took a deep breath. What if I don't? Then you lose everything. And hung up. Lena stood still, shaking, but not out of fear, of anger. She picked up the phone and called Daniel. They called again. Monday, Connor Friday, council meeting. The meeting room on the 20th floor was packed. 12 council members, Daniel at the head, Dr. Marcia beside him with a thick folder, and on the other side of the table, Augusto Farias, smiling confidently. Good morning, everyone, Daniel began, his voice firm. Today, in addition to the regular agenda, I would like to address some irregularities that were discovered in financial management. Augusto raised an eyebrow. Irregularities? What are you talking about, Daniel? Daniel nodded to Dr. Marcia, who opened the folder and distributed documents to all the counselors. In the last 18 months, she began, Mr. Augusto Farias approved outsourced service contracts worth a total of 3 million reais. Of these contracts, 40% were directed to shell companies registered in the name of oranges. Murmurs around the table. Augusto stood up, his face red. This is absurd. There's more. Daniel took another document. Veronica Almeida, former HR manager, received 5,000 reais a month from one of these shell companies, and Rafael Santos, an outsourced contractor, received 2,000. Both carried out your direct orders. Augusto slammed his hand on the table. You have no proof. Daniel smiled. Cold, calculated. I have. Emails, bank transfers, audios, testimonials. He leaned forward. Including the call you made to Lena Silva on Wednesday night, threatening the physical integrity of her son. Absolute silence. Augusto turned white. I never. Daniel placed a small recorder on the table and pressed play. The distorted voice echoed throughout the room. Children get lost. Mothers lose custody. Then Daniel played another audio. Augusto's real voice, without distortion, on an old corporate call. It was the same voice. The counselors looked at Augustus with shock and disgust. He tried to speak, but no sound came out. Daniel stood up. Augusto Farias, you are fired for just cause, and he will be criminally liable for threats, extortion, money laundering, and conspiracy. 2 security guards entered the room. Augusto tried to run but was restrained, handcuffed, taken away, shouting empty threats. When the door closed, the council president turned to Daniel. You saved this company. Daniel shook his head. No, she saved it. And he pointed to the door. Lena was standing there next to Dr. Marcia, holding the folder with all the evidence that she helped organize over the last 3 days. The counselors looked at her, surprised. Daniel smiled. Gentlemen, this is Lena Silva, the new administrative assistant, and the bravest person I know. 2 weeks later, Lena entered the 12th floor, but not with the cleaning cart. He entered in a navy blue blazer, briefcase in hand, hair loose in natural curls. He passed through the corridors and people greeted him. With respect, with admiration. He arrived at his new desk, next to Daniel's office, sat down, turned on the computer, and took a deep breath. I achieved. That night, when she picked Miguel up from school, he ran up to her with a drawing in his hand. Mom, look, I made you. Lena took the paper. It was her in a blazer smiling with the words, my mother is the strongest. She knelt down and hugged her son, crying with joy. And you, my love, are the reason I never give up. 3 months later, Daniel invited Lena to a simple dinner. Nothing fancy, just the 2 of them, in a neighborhood pizzeria. Why here? She asked, smiling. Because it doesn't look like it here. There is no judgment. There are only people. He raised the glass. And you taught me that that's what matters. Lena toasted him. Thanks for everything. No, thank you. You reminded me why I do what I do. They ate, laughed, talked, and for the first time in years, Lena felt like she wasn't fighting alone. Final reflection. Lena Silva never. He imagined that $8 in a threadbare purse would change his life. Not because money had power, but because his dignity had. She was humiliated, persecuted, threatened, almost destroyed, but it never broke. Because she knew a truth that many forget. Your value does not depend on what others see in you. It depends on what you see in yourself. And when you fight with truth, courage, and faith, justice always finds a way. Today, Lena works alongside Daniel Carvalho, not as a cleaner, but as a respected administrative assistant. Miguel grew up watching his mother win, and he learned that character is worth more than gold. And every time Lena passes the restaurant where she was humiliated, she smiles, because she's not the $8 woman anymore. She is the woman worth millions. And you? Have you ever been through an unfair situation and managed to turn it around? Tell us here in the comments. Give this story a score from 0 to 10. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss the next stories of courage, justice, and overcoming. Your story matters too, and we are here to listen.